Almost no one's left to tell you about how it happened. Said they came from the dark side of the moon. All I know is one day people went outside and looked up and watched the sky fall in on them. We've learned a lot about them, except what they look like. Every flying, rolling, and running thing they've got, we smash them, crack them open, and find nothing but wires and circuit boards. Well, two can play that game. We holed up under the ground, took apart their tech, and made it our tech. And we took one of their plasma cannons and attached it to a drone. Boom. Instant air superiority. We were fighting ghosts, so we built one of our own. Instead of a wispy thing too high to be seen, we chose a different approach to delivering long-distance hate. The A-10 has proven itself one of the toughest, most reliable flying machines in military history. And while our fighter jets could outrun their drones, those attackers, they adapted and outmaneuvered us. Nothing short of hypersonic could get the drop on them. But we were very short on ammo after a while. We had to think like them, like an invading force that didn't have a base to return to. Their aircraft and mech robots used solar power and somehow multiplied it, kept their batteries charged and weapons hot. We kept enough tech buried deep in mountains. Didn't take scientists too long to synthesize their power management and to figure out repulsor stabilization. And our first attempt at plasma weapons put theirs to shame. So we took a plasma cannon normally mounted on something heavy and put it on a stealthy drone to rain hell from above. We call it the plasma drone. And there's plenty of places to hide. With cities reduced to rubble, we found a perfect outpost. Knollwood Station. It has high ground and a big basement, which we were able to bore out into a full-fledged military bunker. Each of the past 5 winters, Jim Silva challenges us with his warped imagination to build something for the Wasteland. For his alien attack theme, I'm going skyward and stealthy with a Hot Wheels Roborace Robocar. I began cutting up this stealth fighter, but then I saw that the twin tails were held on by a tiny little rivet. On this craft, those are actually antennae. They do not help the drone turn. Time to find the perfect plasma cannon. Aha! These 2 spiky pieces I got from a dollar store set could be just the trick. First mock-up, the drone body, antenna tail, thick Draco, and 4 repulsor discs for zigzaggy movement like its enemy. Got this far and forgot to strip the paint. The diecast didn't need all that much done to it, just some ruts and rough edges. repulsor discs are motorcycle tires. I'm adding snaps to them and they'll articulate to steer the drone. Think about the Draco nuclear rocket on the back. It can get the plasma drone out of a sticky situation quick, but it can also fly in space. So when we finally take the battle to them, we've got the hardware. A nice gray radar dampening livery. Each of the repulsor assemblies was a combination of 3 smaller wires and 1 thicker one. They'll be anchored inside the drone and will reposition based on its attack profile. These repulsors also have ionization charging, which means they can take static electricity out of the air as they move and charge their batteries, like an automobile's alternator. I'm going to anchor the repulsor motor arm like this. Since there's no actual spork in this build, I had to get at least 1 channel sticker in there. The number 5 for the 5th winter in the Wasteland. And skulls, because they're badass.
And I'm announcing this earlier this year as I'm anticipating some of you may wish to create dioramas to fit this build.
Why, oh why, Jim, did you go and say that? Well, okay, diorama time. I want everything about this to be fragmented, starting with the base. Knollwood Station was attacked before it became the home base for the plasma drone. What's left is a mostly destroyed building and that sizable basement that I mentioned earlier. Foam core makes up part of the base. This piece of cork will be the parking lot. I have 3 junk drawers, 4 greeble drawers, and a dozen diecast lobby drawers where I store loose castings with the potential to make customs. I recently turned 2 of those drawers into chunk house drawers, essentially junkyards comprised of castings from which I've harvested wheels, engines, windshields, the chassis, you name it. This is where I'll pull from to build a wall of junked cars to camouflage the base. The wall will look something like this. Gonna use that buggy for reconnaissance and for painting targets. This door sensor went out on my car right when I started this build. I knew it had to be part of this diorama. And so many other parts from builds a lot like this one. These girder and panel sets were from the 70s and 80s, and I loved them. Maybe a decade ago, I wondered what happened to them and went on a short eBay spree and bought a few sets. These will make a perfect framework for Knollwood Station's bombed out building. That tanker isn't full of gasoline. It's full of Freon. Another way to hide from the attackers is to keep everything cold on the surface to hide the heat from the bunker. Enemy drones survey the area, see it's cold, and move on. The cars at the bottom are dug into the snow. Destruction, like rust and aging of something, is done in layers. With each layer comes a new level of detail. That Cork parking lot was a little too square, so it needed some crumbling. Cardboard makes a good collapsed building because that's what they look like after they're bombed out, a slurry of concrete, plywood, brick, and dust. I kept all the foam core chunks because they look like debris and also snow. I did a lot of detail work on the backside of the diorama as practice. That RV is the control tower, where the pilot does their work. The tubing is the Freon-filled pipes, providing a barricade to the heat within. The power station's got insulated wires and conduits that go deep into the ground, and the power is drawn from a solar field far away. Time for the ultimate rubble. Kitty litter. It gives the right scale of debris and destruction. More kitty litter rims the parking lot to show its degradation. The white misting is done with rattle cans in the wind. Kinda natural and easy. Knollwood Station is on the top of a hill, so it gets wind whipped quite a bit. Has a real Antarctic look to it. Someone go get Kurt Russell and his flamethrower. Blackwash turns the cork into asphalt. The only thing that parks here is the plasma drone, so it needs its own spot. That thing is won Employee of the Month 94 months in a row. There we go. Exposed girders always seem to be a dark, dark brown. It sets off the white very well and doesn't look like a toy anymore. Another key layer to the detail, along with the chunks of foam core, keylid, or cardboard refrigerated tubing in the bashed castings, is wire to power the control room and defense plasma weapons. I use baking soda to cure the CA glue, which serves two purposes. In addition to curing the glue instantly, it looks like snow. Needed a main charging cable for the drone, and a post on which to hang it, kinda like a garden hose. That's our Knollwood Station. As I weathered and dented the cars that made up the junk pile, a few stood out to me. One was the buggy, which will be recon. And then I built this Beetle monster truck plasma cannon thingy. Originally it was going to be a precursor to the plasma drone, but then it just kind of became a side project one night. Here's the first draft of the support team. Oh, and there was a flying police car as well, but it and the plasma bug were written out of the script. Pay no attention to that four-legged mech. I didn't have room to put it on the diorama. Maybe in the sequel. This bad boy plows the roads and sands the landing pad. There's the treaded mobile recharger. This construction equipment puts new cars onto the wall whenever more are found. You can always use another plow, and the recon buggy. It all started with a Roboracer. Now there's a team, invisible to the enemy, but exacting quite a lot of revenge. I really like the way this came out. I think the blue wires that support the repulsor discs showing through are a nice offset to the otherwise drab colors. The plasma cannon is monstrous, but not ridiculous in size. And the repulsor discs move, which to me is the flying car equivalent of saying, it's a roller. Thanks as always, and thanks again to Jim Silva for hosting this annual challenge. You had to suggest a diorama, didn't you? Well, I had a lot of fun with this one. Emptied out some junk drawers, chunk house drawers, and built another flying vehicle. If you enjoyed this, I suggest you check out the other builds done for this challenge. You can search the hashtags Winter in the Wasteland 5 or simply WITW5. Each year, more and more folks show that they're out there, hiding, dug in, and building what they need to survive yet another winter in the wasteland. For Jim Silva, and for the heroes of Knollwood Station, this is Tom at Spork Syndicate. See you again real soon.